Greeting coaches, you are listening to the All Access Coaching Podcast powered by the Glazier Drive. My name is Rick Stewart and I created All Access Coaching with a vision of coaches helping coaches, which is why I partner with the folks at Glazier, because they share the same vision as I do. Everything that All Access Coaching and Glazier does is focused on one thing, making you a better coach. Hosted by allaccesscoaching.com. This podcast is brought to you by Team Nation, a digital playbook that your players can instantly access on their phones in a video game type of learning experience. Build your playbook online or pull it from a library. View how often your players looked at it, or should I say played it, because they will feel like they're playing a Madden-like video game while learning your playbook. You can go check that out at teamnationsports.com. Today's podcast is tagging multiple RPOs to the internal run game with Coach Pat Fox. He's one of the, I jokingly just called him one of the OGs of Glazier. He started with Glazier when it was owned by the Glazier family before the current owners took over. That Pat and I are really good friends also with the current owner, and they're really good people over there. Pat Fox has served as a head coach at 5 Michigan high schools and is currently the head coach at Notre Dame Prep. He got to a regional championship and they've made the playoffs 5 out of the last 6 years. During the course of his career, Fox has led his team to over 180 wins, multiple league championships, and 3 appearances in the regional finals. Actually make that 4, because at Notre Dame Prep, he just made a regional final. Fox has turned around multiple dormant programs, including Milford High School, where he posted a record of 50-20, 2 league championships and 2 district titles. Prior to his arrival at Milford, the Mavericks had experienced 20 consecutive seasons of losing football. So Coach and I kind of share, we're kind of kindred spirits, where we've taken some losing programs and kind of changed the culture and turned that around. So I'm really excited. I am a fan from the far, Coach Fox. When I was running under center wing T, I listened to you talk at a Glazier clinic. I'm pretty sure it was Phoenix, because I couldn't afford to fly back there as a young coach. And we put the midline in. Coach used to be a wing T coach before he went to the dark side and went to the spread world. And we heard this talk on the midline, and it totally changed what we were doing. We had a running quarterback that year. He was probably 120 pounds soaking wet. And we put that midline in from under center. I still run it exactly the way Coach Fox told me to run it in Phoenix. And we got to a regional championship that year with it. And that quarterback ran for 1,000 yards. So I want to give Coach a lot of credit there on how I put that midline in. You know, now we've both gotten sexy. I'm in the pistol, he's in the shotgun, but we still have our wing T roots. That gap scheme stuff has definitely placed. Hey, Coach, I'm excited, man. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, man. I'm ready to go.
Ready to go. Let's start with share your screen and let's start talking about RPOs, baby.
All right, man. First thing I want to do is tell everybody there's my Twitter handle, PEFG Defense. If you want to jump on. You know, sometimes I'm real active and sometimes I'm not, but hey, it's fun. All right. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about some RPO stuff. And what happens, we've been a shotgun zone read team since 2006 or 5. And some things we did in 18, we decided that we were going to play fast, and faster. All right. We were going to reduce our blocking schemes, use a few less formations. And then we were going to tag all 3 of our inside zone schemes, our inside run schemes, with RPOs. We wanted to protect the box with what you call basic RPOs. And then we wanted to challenge aggressive secondaries. And then we wanted to challenge the run fits of linebackers. And we wanted to embrace the passing game. I think what we did is we took our run schemes, our internal run schemes, and we decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to run inside zone. We're going to run power out, old school power out. And we were going to run guard, tackle, counter again, and guard and Y counter again. We hadn't run it in a while, but because of what's going on with defenses and the odd fronts, we felt the counter gap schemes really gave us a great advantage. Once again, Coach, it was great for us on the wing team versus those odd fronts. Odd inside fronts come around, gap schemes are really good for us again. Okay. So some thoughts on RPOs before I move on. I want you to know I have the advantage of being an offensive lineman as a player. And I understand that the first letter in RPO is run. All right. And what I want to do is run the ball. So when we're running RPOs, if we're not throwing the ball because that's not what we're getting, that's awesome. All right. Because we want to run the ball. However, we want to run the ball on our terms. We're not going to take, 6 linemen and 6 blockers and try to run the ball against a 7-man front. Okay. We're just not going to do that. And if you want to load the box, we're going to punish you. We're going to beat you. And then I was talking to one of my buddies on my staff, and you brought it up the other day, my former staff, we went down to watch the MAC championship game, and he was giving me crap about everything comes back to the wing T. But when we talk about RPOs, it is about putting players in conflict. And it's the same theory. When people are playing quarters coverage, we want to put those safeties in conflict. All right. If you got fast flow linebackers, we want to put those people in conflict. And if you're going to put 7 in the box and you're going to play man coverage, we're going to find your weak link and we're going to throw man beaters at you because we just feel we're going to run the ball on our terms and we're going to put your players in conflict. Now, things we've done, and I'm going to go quickly through this because, all this stuff that I'm going to talk about briefly, okay, is on Glacier Drive. And, the drive is a great system. We put a lot of time into it. And a lot of things here have not changed. All right. So when we talk about our base inside run, all right, we want to protect our base inside run with what we call inverted bubbles and smoke routes. If you're playing 7 guys in the box and playing off, we're throwing bubbles and smokes all night. All right. So, we run inside zone where, we're gap across, read the end man on the line of scrimmage. I'm going to go fast because this is all in the drive. And we fan block the 30 front. Okay, we fan block the 30 front, read the 4-eye. Okay. One of the things we really teach our kids is we're in the sidecar, we're at 6 yards deep. We tell our tailback to attack the inside foot of the near play side guard. And what we really want to do is we want to bring that wind back into play. Okay. We love the wind back. The wind back's where the money is. Now, if the B gap's open, we take it. If it's not open, we put our foot in the ground on step 3. We stick it, try to get a vertical cut. And if that seems to be muddy, we wind it back. And I'm telling you right now, the wind back is where the money is. All right. And that's where you want to coach it. Here's our inverted bubble. We like that technique. If you want to learn more about that, I got a whole segment on drive. And what it is we're attacking on an angle, then we're backing up into a leverage point. Therefore, we're throwing at a stationary target where the completion rate's about 27% higher. Run pass is a great concept, but it's run pass catch option. And we want to make sure we catch the ball, make the defense run. So we run the inverted bubble concept.
And just Coach, can you go back to that slide? Hey, Coach, yes, real quick for our podcast listeners, if they're driving in their car.
Okay, yeah.
What's that drawing you're talking about that starts with your basic RPO?
It's an inside zone. And what we do is we like to get maximum stretch with our kids. And instead of running a traditional bubble screen like Purdue did in the 90s, we'll stalk number 1. And number 2, we'll run an arrow route like he's running 3.5 yards to the boundary. And when he gets within 5 yards of the front foot of the widest receiver, we call it second base, he starts backing up into that ghost position of second base to get width. And what that allows us to do, fellas, is complete the bubble screen at a very high rate. And if you're playing your kids and lever and like overhangs and you're not respecting number 2, we're going to put it out there and let our kids run. And you know what the thing is? We got some kids who can run. They're not great, but hell, in space, they're good. And that's what you're looking for. And that's just a base concept we do with all our inside runs. I'll give you how we do it. If it's a 2-man, if it's a 2 or a 3-man surface, the most inside guy runs the bubble screen if he's off the line. If there's a solo receiver, he runs a smoke. And basically our quarterback comes up and he says, you know what? Do I have an honest box or are they squeezing me? If I got an honest box, I'm running the play. If not, I'm taking whatever's free and I'm taking what's easy. And that's how we run it. Okay. Now I'm just going to show you this real quick. Coach, I know we're on a podcast. What I'm showing is an inside run. And, I'm just going to show you the wind back here. And this is from a couple of years ago. We get a really good wind back. We get a good play on it and we take it to the end zone. Now you guys on the podcast can't see that. Okay. And this next one I have in here, Coach. The only reason I put it in is I want you to watch the overhang kid here. Okay. This is in a regional final game. Good football team, Flint Powers. Okay. Watch them expand this kid because they fear the bubble. Watch him expand. He expands on the bubble. It's a true 6-man box, and we're ready to go. Now, I got a lot of film on that. I'm going to move on because the next game we run is Power O. And guys, it is just like we ran Power O in the wing tee. It is gap, gap, gap. We skip pull, we hard sift with the tackle, and with the tailback on the same side, we take them on a banana path, and we attack the backside or the front side A and work to the wind back. We call it dive. It's just power. It's our second play, and we protect that with bubble screens too. Now, I'm going to move on so I can get to some new stuff. Now, counter read is new to us this year. We put counter read in, Rick, back in 2009. I was an assistant for the only time in my adult life, and the guy I was coaching for didn't think we could run inside zone. So we put in counter read, never ran it. Well, we really liked the counter scheme, and we decided because of all the odd fronts, it would be a great deal for us. So this is new to us. And what we're doing with this is we're running guard tackle counter, where we're gap, gap, gap down backer. We are going to pull and trap, and we are going to wrap the tackle for the mic. If the end squeezes, we'll pull the ball. We have bubbles on both sides. Basic RPOs protect the box. If you don't like the box, throw the bubble, throw the smoke. So this is all new.
So that was a GT counter scheme, right? So
yes, sir. That is a GT counter scheme for the podcast people.
Yeah, guards kicking out the DN. You're wrapping the tackle up in the B gap for the play side backer.
And we're going to read the backside end. Okay. So on our video, we got basic bubbles. We're actually going to bring number 3 in motion. Okay. We're going to run the power read to the left. We're going to get a good guard trap, a good peel. End is high. He gives the ball. Could have thrown the bubble, but we get a nice 12-yard gain. This is new for us this year. You see, we're playing fast if you're on the video. If you're not on the podcast, we like to replete good plays right away at the line. We run it again, and this one bends all the way back. Backside defensive end can't squeeze on that play. If he squeezed on that play and we gave the ball, he would have made the tackle. But because he came up to play the quarterback because of the read, we got a wind back in there. It was pretty good. It is a really good scheme for us. Now,
Bob, because
yes, sir.
Because that slot receiver went in motion, your RPO bubble is to the single receiver side.
You have a smoke route with the single receiver side, and we had a bubble with the motion kid.
Yep.
Okay. Now, the next RPO concept we run is glance, and we run it with 3 schemes. Okay. We run it with our zone scheme. We run it with our power scheme, and we run it with our guard tight end counter scheme. And the reason we have to do that is we have to block the end man on the line of scrimmage with the tackle on the counter, or he gets turned loose. So what we're doing with the glance concept is we're trying to put like a quarter safety in conflict. Okay. On one side, we're going to run a 7-yard, and we call it a glance. It's a sharp post right at the alignment of the safety. On the other side, we have man beaters. We have 3 different man beaters we run. My favorite is just a quick out. 1 runs a takeoff, 2 runs a quick out. We throw it all the time. We can throw a slot fade. We can throw a double slant. I'm not as big as those as my offensive coordinator. I like to take the sure thing. So what we're looking for is this. I got 6 blockers. If they have 6 in the box, we're going to execute the read. And basically that's that's this. We're going to put the ball into the tailback's belly as we read the quarter safety. If the quarter safety reads low hat and comes down into the box as a seventh defender, it's no longer an honest box. We pull the ball and drive the glance route. Okay. If they put 7 in the box and man up across, we can't run 6-on-7, so we'll throw the man beaters. So what happens with my quarterback is he comes out, and he sees the press man in the loaded box. He's throwing the man beaters right now. Everybody else is running the play. He's throwing the man beaters right away. We're not going to attack a loaded box. What we want to do is if it's a 6-man box and we can block it with 6, we're going to execute the glance read. If it's a 7-man box, we have to throw the man beater. So as I come back to my first slide, right now we're getting quarters coverage. I got a 6-man box and the safety stays deep, 6-on-6. He reads the safety. The safety's read is really simple. If he stays on the hash and gets depth, we give the ball. If he rotates off the hash or rotates down, we drive the glance. If the hash is open, we throw it. If there's 7 in the box, we throw the man beaters. And here's our different form of man beaters. We have an out where number 1 runs a takeoff, 2 runs a speed cut. We have a slot fade. And I think if you're good at that, it's really dangerous. We just haven't been as good on that as we should be. And then we get double slant, which I'm not a fan of, but my OC loves. All right. So if man coverage, throw the man beater. If man coverage not present, key the safety. And if the safety is in the middle of the field, we're going to read him. If he rotates or voids the hash, we're going to throw it. And fellas, it's that simple. The first way we do it is we run inside zone. We take a recessed tight end, we bring him back, and we block the 5 technique, which is the traditional read key, because we're going to read the safety. If we are going to run lead glance, we will block man with the guard tackle, and we will wrap the recessed tight end in at an inside linebacker and read it. We don't do that much. If I'm running a power scheme and I got my recessed tight end, I'm going to run gap, 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 gap. I have man beaters opposite, and I have the glance on the front side. And I'm going to tell you, dive glance is the one that that's the one that's been best for us. Now, in terms of getting the ball thrown, we do a great job on bob glance. We get a ton of give. But when people get that recessed tight end trying to get inside and kick out the 5, that safety wants to come down. And when he comes down, he voids, and we can rip it in there. And it's a great play. First of all, yes, sir.
Jump in if I'm wrong, but for the podcast listeners, so you've got a two-man man beater opposite of the offset tailback. That's a pre-snap read. Loaded
Correct.
Box, throw the 2-man route, whatever that is.
Correct.
The glance route, coaches, is he's got a solo receiver on the same side as the running back. Kind of a post route. He's probably a little more technical on his footwork, but it's a post route at the weak side safety, the safety that's on the one receiver side.
Correct. Now we can run 2-man glance, and we've done that out of the inside zone look, which can be effective, but we haven't done it in a while. But I like this way the best with the power O scheme. When you have the 2 guys opposite and you get the recessed tight end into the boundary, kicking out the 5 technique, your chances are really high. You're either going to have a great run play or you're going to get a chance at a home run. And we like it when we get that. Now this year, this was new to us. What we decided to do is if we were going to run counter and we were running guard tackle counter, and we also wanted to run guard counter. And then instead of pulling the tackle, we wanted to pull the tight end and wrap the tight end up to the mic. All right. Now he would replace the tackle. And that would permit our tackle to block on the 5 technique. And if he blocked on the 5 technique, then we would have time to run the glance concept and read the safety. So everything's the same. All right. If you come out and you see that you have a 7-man box, we don't want to run 7. We got 6 blockers. They have 7. It's a bad play. Take your man beater. If you got a 6-man box, what we want to do is we want to execute the play. If the safety stays high and on the hash, if he stays high and on the hash, all right, they're staying in a 6-man box, we're going to run the ball. If he comes down or rotates, that means someone else is trying to get into the box, and we want to throw that slant cut or that post cut at 7 yards and do that with the counter. And we started doing some of that this year, not as much as we should, but it is in the book. It's been good for us. I got one cut, and my listeners that can't see this, I'm going to apologize, but what you're going to see is you're going to see that we're going to run the counter action on this, I believe. And we throw the man beater. Now, Coach, you're going to be my listening audience on podcast. Okay. We got a 7-man box. This is inside zone, my fault. And they got 7 in the box, and they got 1 pressed, and there is no one over number 2. He's at 11 yards. Now, Coach, this is the reason we left the wing team. And, just people ganged up the box on us, and we didn't have enough answers, But right now, this is the easiest answer in the world. We're going to run Bob Glance with inside zone. And when we run Bob Glance, number 2's uncovered, and he's going to run a speed out. And when he runs a speed out, he catches the ball, makes a little move, and all of a sudden it's a 20-yard gain. Well, I really like that. I really like that. I'm going to come up a ways a little bit. We really want to run the ball, and Bob Glance is our best run play still. We wind it back and we hit it in there and we pound it up there. It's our best run play. Now you can see another man beater up here, and we're running. This looks like another Bob Glance, and we get the man beater. We throw pitch and catch 9 yards. Well, dude, when you're in some offenses, and I'm not going to say which ones, okay, because you get 9 yards, it's a hell of a play. Well, I like the 9-yard play here. So here we are again. We're just running it. It just hits front side. And now people are covering the routes, and we don't have them in our problem. Now, this next concept, I have to tell you that it is where we're going. Okay. It is where we're going, Rick, in the RPO game, the next 2 RPOs. And because what we're starting to see right now is we're starting to see a lot of like that double eagle tight front with man coverage. That's like everybody's answer to RPOs. But, the next 2 concepts I want to share with you are really good. Okay. We call this one zipper or seam. If it's on the front side, it's seam. If it's on the back side, it's zipper. Okay. And here's what it's going to be.
Coach, can I stop you real quick for the?
Yes, sir.
Hey, podcast listeners, just stay with us. We're going to have Coach's PowerPoints in the show notes, so you can download the PowerPoint and then listen to the podcast and kind of see what he's explaining with these slides.
Yeah. Now, fellas, here's the deal. We were running inside zone, and we were reading the backside backer. Okay. And what we were doing is we took our best pass concept, which was spacing, and we put spacing in there. And we basically told our kid to read the front side. If he had access, take it, and then block the 5 technique with the backside tackle. And we put the spacer in behind the backer. And if the backer triggered downhill, we'd throw it to the spacer. And then that kind of became a seam concept for us. And it was okay. It was okay. It won a playoff game for us in 19. But what we thought is I think people are doing a better job on that backer on inside zone. So what we decided to do is we decided that we would use all our concepts that we used before, okay? But instead of reading the front side backer or the backside backer on the zone scheme, we were going to pull backside guard and read the backer who's keying him and throwing his ear hole. So this is how it works. The problem with this, okay, the problem with this is we call it zipper. We call it zipper. And if we're running it, the counter, so let's say we're running guard, tight end, counter, left from a 3x1 set, counter going from the 3 to kick out the defensive end to the solo receiver side. Number 2 is going to run what we call a zipper. It's an inside glance where we're trying to push the free safety and get underneath him. And we are going to read the backside backer. So my quarterback is putting the ball to the tailback on the left as counter gap is coming left, downhill 100 miles an hour, and he's reading the backside backer. All right. We have a rhythm slant tied to that. In case they ride the zipper out, we'll throw the rhythm slant. Our man beater is a smoke, or sometimes we'll sneak them in and run a quick out. Here's the problem with running the zipper concept. Okay. When you run the zipper concept, you do not have the 2-man man beater on the play side. Okay. However, if you run 16-17 dive, if you run 16-17 dive zipper and you just run old school dive, I got to find my slide, coach. Okay, there's the zipper again. Okay, so here's my drawing. If we were to run power to the left and we have the zipper on the right, okay, we have double smokes because number 2 is the zipper. And what we're doing is running that inside glance and reading the backer. And I thought it was going to be really hard for my kid. And, you know, he was a sophomore and he was right a lot. And, you know, we got some big chunk plays out of it. You know, I know we're going to run out of time and I want to get to one other concept. So I'm not going to be able to show film. But when you guys are on the podcast, get a chance to go to Drive, we're going to have all this new stuff updated. And it's going to be fantastic for you to see. But the zipper concept, where we read the backside backer, all right, we read the backside backer. So if I'm pulling my guard from right to left, I'm going to read the linebacker that's over my right guard, who's getting that cross pull. And, you know, when you get the zone stuff, those guys want to slow down and let the play wind back into their lap. When it's like a power scheme or a gap scheme and they get that pull behind the center's back, those dudes are running. And that opens up that void and that really slows them down. And, you know, today it was kind of funny, Coach. I got a message on my offensive Twitter thing. And it says, Coach, you've always taught that on defense, you read the cross pull. And if someone's running, you know, a guard pull from the backside, you know, the guard blocks the 2-eye and the center blocks back to the 3. And then you pull the guard, there's no one there for your cross pull, you know, and he runs free and he runs the crease and crushes your kid. He goes, how do you block that? Well, when I go on there tonight, I'm going to tell him, I don't. I read him. And when he fires, I put it in his ear hole. Because now I've put him in conflict, just like we used to do that defensive end on down and buck sweep and down option. You know, we're taking him and we're putting him and we're wrapping him in a hole that he doesn't want to be in. Okay. And they're great plays. But the last thing I'm going to talk about tonight, Coach, and I hope I'm doing this right on time, is where our RPOs have really traveled this year. And we call it our Air Force concept. And we do it out of 2 schemes. We do it out of the inside zone read, and we do it out of the guard tackle zone read. And what we're doing is we're running guard tackle zone read, or guard tackle counter read and inside zone read. And we are reading the 5 technique. And if he comes upfield, we give the ball on both plays. If he closes, my quarterback's going to pull the ball and we're going to have an arrow out in front of him or a stick route out in front of him. So it becomes inside zone with triple option with an arrow or a stick route in combination. And why do I like this so much? Well, you can check this out. If I'm running it traditional, the way we learned it, number one runs a takeoff, number two runs a 10-yard sail. We bring the recessed tight end from the backside and we run the arrow. Well, all the RPO people, all the people defending RPO, they got the same idea. They're going to play us in man and they're going to put 7 in the box. Easiest way to defend RPOs. So your answer to that is put their man coverage people in stress. And what we do is we take these 2 receivers and we manipulate them around on the backside of inside zone. We run the inside zone and we read the 5. And we slip the tight end out into the flat. Well, if it's man coverage, that free safety is coming a long way away. And the other part about it is, if any of you guys were option guys like Coach was, you don't want to play man coverage against option football because there's no one accounting for the quarterback. So our quarterback gets out in the flat, and this safety, if they're in man coverage, he's got 2 guys. He's got the arrow and he's got the quarterback, and he's always wrong. Sometimes we'll take number 2 and we'll put him on a stick. And what that does is it pushes his man off, but sort of rubs that guy coming from the backside. So we're running inside zone. We're running counter read. I have motion here. You know what, Coach? We aren't using motion. We didn't think we could pull those kids and put them on the backside. We were wrong. We could do it. And that's even tougher. So pay attention, my people on the podcast, so you can understand. We're going to run inside zone. Let's say we're running it from left. We're running it to the left. We're reading the defensive end on the right. We're running inside zone, the defensive end. He sits. I give the ball. Plays over. Run the ball. I read him this time, and he collapses. He pulls. He makes me pull the ball. My quarterback attacks the flank. In front of him, number 1 is running the takeoff. Number 2 is running the 10-yard out. And my backside tight end is slipped to the flat. If they are in a zone defense, there's an overhang kid over there. It's 2-on-1 on the overhang. If he comes and plays the quarterback, we dump it. All right. If he comes and plays the arrow route, the quarterback has the biggest alley you could ever run in. If it's man coverage, it's more pronounced. We can do it from inside zone, and we can do it from guard tackle read. It is the best thing we did this year. Coach, I'll show you a couple clips, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, right now, and these aren't our best plays. These were the fastest one I could get linked up today, Coach. Okay, so here we go. We're in a 2-by-2 set. My tight end is recessed to the right, all right? And we are going to run, it looks like, counter gap right. We're going to run counter gap right, and we're going to bring the tight end across behind the offensive line to run an arrow on the left, and we will read the defensive end on the left side as the counter is being run to the right. The defensive end sits. We get the give, 6-yard gain. Run pass option, run the ball. Okay. Now we're playing an odd front team, our good friends over at Dearborn Divine Child. Good players over at Divine Child. Okay. They got that Hutchinson kid. We played against him when he was a sophomore. I'm not saying he tapped out as a 10th grader, but I got video. Okay. Now here we go. He gonna win the Heisman. Same play. We get the ball, and you can see where the arrow is going to come loose, but he's got to read it right. You know what I'm saying, Coach? He's got to read it right. Now, this is the stick. He takes a little jab step. He gets out in the arrow, and there it is. It is.
Oh, yeah. So if the DN squeezes that quarterback, when he pulls it, he does kind of a little bit of a rollout.
He runs. Yes.
Which puts more pressure on the defense.
Correct. He attacks the flank, just like he does in all zone read. He attacks the flank. This is probably our best red zone play.
So when he pulls it initially, that looks like zone read. They're thinking, hey, the quarterback's going to pull it and run.
Read, Coach. It's zone read.
And coaches, if you're not seeing this, as the quarterback's running it, he's kind of throwing it on the run out in the flats to the tight end. Like, coach brought all the way across the formation.
Kind of like naked. But it is tremendous. We do it with a guard pull, and it is one of our best run zone plays. This is embarrassing. Watch this one. It's going to come across. We're going to bring kid in motion. This may not be the one. We bring him across. And, the thing is, pretty soon they start chasing those arrow routes because you walk it in the end zone. And I'm going to let this one run, Coach, because this is new this year. I want people to see this. And when I'm out on the trail this year, I'm going to talk about this because I got 4 really good sites I'm going to be in, and I want to share this. Watch this one, Coach. This is unbelievable. Inside zone, reads it, slips it, dumps it. And there's no one around.
Coach, you got to go to jail. That's stealing.
Coach, it's horrible. It's horrible. And I mean this. Wait till you see the one where the quarterback gets out the gate.
Coach is listening. He's putting multiple people in conflict. First of all, his box has to defend counter because he's pulling 2 linemen. Then his quarterback's pulling it, so you have the threat of the quarterback running the ball. So whoever your counter boot reverse guy is on the backside, he's got a quarterback who's just pulled the ball. And oh, by the way, who's in the weak side flats opposite the counter? And he's putting his tight end who came across the formation to the flats. Coach, you're putting like every defender in conflict.
Watch this one now. Same concept, but this time we're going to change our formation up and we're going to run it with a stick concept. Watch what happens here. This is a great football team. They went to the state finals. They covered the arrow, but they left the stick uncovered. And, it's too many things happening.
So you ran the counter away from the trips. You had trips open, run the counter away from the trips, and run a stick concept with the trips.
Yep. And now they're chasing the arrow routes, and it's a 9-yard gain by just getting the give. And we're going to let you see a couple because the last piece of the puzzle is going to blow your mind because Coach,
if I'm right, you could run this concept off of both inside zone and your counter.
That's what we do. We do them both ways, Coach.
Yeah. So you're marrying the two. Okay.
Yep. We try to marry all our concepts as much as we can. If it's a read play, we can run this. Okay. If we block the 5 technique, we run glance and zipper. All right. So I think this is the one. No, but you can see on the last few plays, Coach, we've been getting 9 yards of carry, but they're covering everything outside of the pass game and they've lightened their box. And, as a defensive guy, I don't like to lighten my box at all in there, because you start doing that and you're going to give up that ball right down the middle and then you're chasing ghosts. And so let me see here. I think this is the one here. It is by far what we do best right now. Here we go again. We run it, and this time he runs the arrow, but no one takes the quarterback. And the quarterback goes down to the 4-yard line, 3-yard line. It's phenomenal.
Show that again. So you were in trips open, trips to the left. You ran inside.
What I'm in right now, Coach, is I am in 11 personnel. Okay. I am in 11 personnel, and I have a recessed tight end, and I have 2 guys stretching the field to their max. All right. I'm going to run inside zone to the right. And on the left, my recessed tight end is going to chip and run the arrow. And then I got to stick with number 2 and a takeoff with number 1. And what happens is the outside linebacker runs with the arrow. The stick defender sits on the stick route, and the other gentleman covers the takeoff. And as my quarterback attacks the flank, no one's defending him. It's pretty good.
And Coach, necessarily don't really need to run that with the recessed tight end. You could just run that out of tight end trips.
Coach, you can run out of anything you want. You know what I mean? We are running it out of tight end trips. We're running out of the tight end formation because two of the four of my best receivers were tight ends. So we played more out of 11 and 12 personnel this year than we ever have. But we do with what we got. We're just a small school. So here we are again. And, no one's playing the quarterback. 10-yard gain. If he didn't have a dislocated non-throwing shoulder, he might rip it in there and get me a little more. But it is what it is. So, Coach, those are the things we're doing in the update of the RPO stuff. And, it's, the zipper stuff is new and the Air Force concept is new. Everybody's been running bubbles and people have been throwing glance for about 8 years. I think reading the backside backer on pull schemes is where it's coming to when you're playing zone teams. And the man beaters was new to us 2 years ago. And then that Air Force concept has been just fantastic.
So you got three basic run schemes, the zone and the counter and the power. Yep. And then you're marrying it to these three RPO schemes.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right. And every internal run has an RPO tied to it. And, like when we're running basic RPOs, a lot of times we like to get into heavy pods and unbalanced pods and throw bubbles and quicks behind two tight ends and do those type of things. It's easy to do, and it puts stress on the defense.
And that zipper concept, just to recap for the readers, zipper concept, you're reading the safety. And then
zipper concept, we're both on zipper and glance, we come out and we read the box. We pre-snap read the box. If we have a 6-man box, we're executing the play called. If we have a 7-man box and man coverage, we're throwing the man beaters. In glance, we attack the half field safety. If the safety stays high on the hash, we give the ball because the box is remaining with 6 players in it. If the safety rotates, we're assuming that when he rotates either to the middle of the field, if he rotates to the corner, all right, or if he comes down into the box, they're adding someone to the box, and therefore we're controlling him with the slant cut. When we run zipper, we're taking number 2 and we're influencing, or we're putting the backside guard in conflict and pull schemes away from him by running an inside slant type route behind him. Yep. We need to push it vertical enough to hold the safety and then bend it in front of him and read that backer as he triggers, we fire.
Reading the linebacker who would be reading your pulling guard.
Correct. We're reading the backside guard as he keys our backside backer as he keys our guard. That is correct.
Awesome. Hey, Coach, if they want some more information, obviously they can find you on the Glacier Drive. Your contact information is on the Glacier Drive if coaches need to get a hold of you.
Absolutely. If not, you can get me on my Twitter account and hit me up on that. That would be fine.
Coach, on the Glacier Drive, not only can they log in and see, you've probably spent, I imagine you've got 15 to 20 hours of stuff up there. Explain to them how the forum and the webinars. I know Alan's got you probably on weekly webinars now. How does that work?
Well, the forums, you ask questions and I try to get back to you within a day and answer them. And, if you have a question, I'll answer it. And it's fantastic. You can get me on Twitter. You can get me wherever you want.
What about the webinars that are on the drives, the weekly webinars?
We have weekly talks, and I'm doing one in about 12 minutes. If you're into the drive and you buy the clinic pass, you're in the drive, and there's so much good stuff there. Well, what they do is they have a weekly question and answer, and I get like 20 guys. Like starting after New Year's, I'll get like 20, 25 guys for each segment, and they'll ask me questions and I'll put them up on my dry erase board and we'll walk through some stuff. And, we have a good time talking football for 30, 40 minutes a night.
Okay. So nights. Coaches, if you're a member of the drive, if you sign up for the Glacier clinics, the drive's included and vice versa. If you get a drive membership, you go to the clinics for free. Fox's systems up on the drive. You can do the forums, which he'll get back to you with questions. And then he does weekly webinars, which you're a member of the drive. They'll email you a day before the webinar and let you go. Coach, this has been really, really awesome.
Hey, Coach, Before we take off, I do appreciate your time, but hey guys, I'm going to be 4 great sites this year for Glazier Clinics. I'm going to be in California at the LA clinic down in Orange County. I love that clinic. Those guys have been great to me. I'm going to the new one in Louisiana. And I know my guys who came over from Louisiana to see me in Houston. You know who you are. I'm looking forward to having some gumbo with you and talking some football. I'm going to be down in Orlando. They're sending me some warm sites, and I'm excited. I'm going to open up the season this year in Chicago. So if you're around, please come see me. It's a great show. It's going to be great to be able to talk to you face to face. Coach Stewart, I appreciate all your help. And if there's anything I can do, you let me know.
Absolutely. Guys, we will make sure that some of the slides Coach showed will be in the show notes so you can download them. We'll post all this at allaccesscoaching.com, my website's behind my head. And we'll also obviously have everything posted on the Glazier Drive. Again, this was brought to you by Team Nation Sports, where your kids can do video playbooks and learn your playbooks. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, make sure you subscribe, as we will be doing 3 of these every week. They're always free. Every Monday, I'll interview a coach or partner from the Glazier Drive family, like Coach Fox here. And on Thursdays, I'll interview coaches from the All Access coaching family. There's about 17 of us over there. We all speak for Glazier also. We're all just close cousins. And then on Sunday nights, it's just me. It's just Rick Stewart rambling on the podcast about program building, wing T, 4-2-5 defense, and strength coaching. These podcasts and the downloads that go with them are always free. You can find them at Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere podcasts are found. There's also tons of free PowerPoints, PDFs, and webinars at both the Glazier Drive and at the allaccesscoaching.com website. Make sure you follow us on Coach Rick Stewart at Twitter, my Coach Rick Stewart Facebook page, and we also have an All Access Coaching YouTube channel, and Glazier also has a YouTube channel where you can get a lot of the videos. This presentation will be on both the Glazier YouTube channels and the All Access Coaching YouTube channel. Coaches, we really appreciate you, as Coach Fox will agree. I don't care how long you've been coaching. The day you think you know everything and stop learning, get out of the business. Coach and I have been both coaching 20 plus years, and we're still learning. You're learning every day, so we appreciate you guys. You might have been driving your car, probably working out at the gym, or maybe you're watching it on a YouTube channel. We really appreciate you guys logging in. We're going to let Coach go. He's got to jump in on another talk on the Glazier Drive. See you later, coaches.
See you.